Ooh, try again. Hi, everyone. I was muted. Thank you for tuning in to our surprise announcement. We are so excited to launch the EdCollab's book club in just a couple of weeks. And this very quick video here is with myself, Chris Lehman. I'm founding director of the Educator Collaborative, and one of our book club members that you'll hear from more later this month when we get started, Amira.
Hi, everyone. Good to see you all. Good to be
So
here.
we wanted to talk just a little bit about this book club, the book that we have selected for it, and how you can join in with us as a part of our book club together. If you are following us on Facebook or YouTube right now, you can type on the post, you can type a comment and we can see it live and even pull it up here. Like here's Shauna. Hi, Shauna. We're so excited too. Shauna will be a member of the book club as well. You'll get to hear from her later this month. If you type on Facebook or on YouTube into the comments of this post, we'll see them right here and can even bring them into our screen. We also have Instagram open near us too. So if you're typing over on Instagram, we're following along and can say hi to you as well. So our book club. So we had a really incredible, engaging TheEdCollab gathering just a couple of weeks ago in April. Our gathering happens twice a year and is totally free, streaming online. And if you missed it, you can watch it right now. It's available on the website, TheEdCollabGathering.com, and on our YouTube page. Just search for Spring 2024. And our opening keynote was Samira Ahmed. Samira Ahmed is a young adult writer, and some of her books are here behind me. I absolutely adore her work, and her keynote was just incredible. And it just so happened that she has a brand new book that's coming out. On May 7th, her next young adult title, This Book Won't Burn, is live in the world. I have mine pre-ordered already. And so she is the book that we are going to adopt. This Book Won't Burn. So what we thought we could do for this short surprise announcement is we'd like to show you a couple of clips from her keynote, and Amira and I would like to just talk a bit in response to them. And again, you're welcome to comment along with us. I see Shauna is saying on Instagram that she was so fantastic. Can't wait to read her book. I feel the same exact way. We're going to watch a few clips, talk about it, and please feel free to comment as well too on this live video. Just chat, and we can bring you into the conversation through your comments too. Then we also will give you some information on the book club, including the dates, where, how to join in, and to encourage you to either buy or borrow your own copy of This Book Won't Burn as well too. So without further ado, here is one of the clips that we'll talk off of from Samira's keynote.
You know, in those lines of Tracy Chapman's song, talking about a revolution sounds like a whisper. And I think that that's so critical to both my work as a novelist, but also sort of, I guess, who I am or who maybe I aspire to be, because a huge part of that revolution is listening, because sometimes those voices that we're listening to, including our own, are so quiet. And, you know, revolution is an act of change, of shifting the paradigm, dismantling privilege. It's about not giving an inch to the haters right now, and to the book banners. It's about planting our flag and saying, like, the freedom to read and the freedom to think and the freedom to live and the freedom to love are fundamental rights for all of us, for all Americans, and certainly for the children that I believe as adults, it is our duty to protect. And so when I say our kids, I don't mean just my personal kids who are living in this house. I mean all children, because I know that as educators, this is sort of foundational for us. We believe ethically and morally it is our responsibility to ensure that all children are seen and heard and believed and loved. And so often right now, they are being attacked. And a lot of my novels are about young people being forced to find their courage because of the terrible choices adults around them are making, and how they are oppressed by that, and how they use their voices to speak out against that, and how we as adults can help them be allies, can pave a way for them. And I think that so often, like I said, revolution begins by listening. Sometimes it's just that whisper, like from the Tracy Chapman song. And the first thing about it is listening to your own voice. And I think sometimes there's so much noise around us that it's easy to sort of lose sight of our own voice. And sometimes that voice inside of us can be loud. As I'm sure you can imagine, I am a loud person. But sometimes those voices can be quiet.
Wow.
Hello, everyone. I'm Amira. I'm with the TheEdCollab, and I'm just so excited to be here for the book club and to have the chance to read Samira's new book coming out with you all and participate in that. And I just feel like a lot of us are feeling burnt out for many different reasons and are tired and are perhaps going through difficult days. And I think, what she brings up what she brought up during this keynote was prior to what's happening currently on our university campuses. And I think more than any time right now is when our students need us, is when I think we need each other. And she mentions that stories give us a sense of community, and sometimes as students, when they don't feel seen or they're not feeling heard or they don't know where maybe to find their voice yet, I think they can find that within stories and stories that they read. And so the idea of not, providing an array of books and options for students to find themselves in, and this conversation of banning books for students, it's just it's scary. It's right, like that's their outlet, and when you start to take control over that access, that's just starting to take control over many things, and we've seen that done in history. I don't know, Chris, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think the point you highlight of it's both stories that connect us, but it's also how telling stories of harm connect us too, where it's the beautiful books that are trying to be taken from the shelves. Those stories need to be heard, but it's also posting online about death and destruction in Gaza, or listening to news outlets that are showing what's happening in Ukraine, or having stories that both uplift us, but also seeing truth, seeing what is happening. And I think what's been so powerful about, I think, the student protests here in the US, I know you and I were talking a bit about this before we went live, is how they're using tools available to them today to document their own experience, to take a news headline that might say there's violent protests on campus, and to show like, well, actually we're having teach-ins, and the gates are locked so we can't eat, so people are sending food to us underneath the gate. And the story being told of violence isn't happening here on our campus. It's what we're trying to fight against and stop overseas. And I think one thing that really resonated for me in what she said, especially at the start of that clip, was that sometimes revolutionaries are quiet. You don't have to be loud and beating the drum. You still can be a part of it.
And I think there is a huge shift in paradigm now. I think, like you said, is being able to, we're in a time where we can bear witness with how information is being shared now. And I think that was a experience that many of us have been dealing with right now, that we are all bearing witness to atrocities that are happening, across the world, and now currently in our own, cities with our own students. Like the idea of seeing my students who I taught, and like who, you know, we got to share novels and read novels together that involved topics of justice, for example. I'm currently seeing them broadcasting live streams at UCLA, and I'm worried about their safety, and I'm worried about what's happening right now. And they're the ones who are uplifting us as adults and giving us hope and saying, we are not, you know, we're not going to stay quiet. We are going to use our voices. And it's just this like full circle moment where as educators, we're trying to instill in them these values and teachings, and now they're living it. And I just think that's only possible through the classroom, for example, and through like information sharing and story sharing.
So one thing Amira and I said before we got on live here is that we could talk for 7 hours together. So we also want to invite you to our book club and to be a part of this ongoing conversation with us. And so here is a bit of information about the book club coming up. You can also, we'll send many more posts about it. But number one, it is around This Book Won't Burn by Samira Ahmed, which at the end of our introduction here, you'll get to hear her talk a bit about it. We, number one, invite you to buy or borrow it, and we encourage you to please support your local bookstores and libraries. I ordered from the Astoria Bookshop, which is right over here in my neighborhood. Shout out to them. I love them, small independent bookseller right here. Here's from the School Library Journal starred review, ripped from the headlines. Ahmed's latest novel frames the fight against book banning as a hopeful endeavor in active civic engagement that a wide audience would benefit from reading. Then, as you can see on your screen there, and we'll post here as well, there are going to be 3 dates for this book club. This book comes out on May 7th, so it's not out just yet. And so we want to give you time to put it on loan or to buy and get your copy picked up. So we're going to start our book club at the end of May. So you have a couple of weeks to get your copy and to read it. And we're going to break the book into 3 different sections. So on May 30th, Thursday, May 30th, from 8 to 9 p.m. Eastern, chapters 1 through 16. Then we're going to have a week off, and so you have time to catch up in case you didn't get your book yet and you feel inspired to. And then we'll have 2 back-to-back Thursdays on June 13th, chapters 7 through 34, and on June 20th, chapters 35 to the end. This book club will be joined live on camera by members of the TheEdCollab. So Amira and I will be back. We also will be joined by Shauna Coppola, Lois Barker, and Jessica Walsh, who are all educators across the United States. And we'll be reading and talking together. And we would love to have you join as well, too. So just the way that you are tuning in now and the comments that you are leaving on whether you're watching us on Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube, those comments, we can see them too. And we will talk and respond to everything that you're saying as we're talking here as well. So here, for example, is Jen saying, book club, yes, we're happy that you're excited for the book club. We are excited for it as well, too. Here, Amira, just to show us how it works, just posted on YouTube. Can't wait for this book club. And here's Amira as well on Facebook. This is so very needed. So as you tune in, you'll be able to chat with each other like many of you are now. But we will also be able to respond and bring your comments in. And we may even invite some of you to come join us on camera as well, too. So we hope that you will participate. Then one big push to kick off our book club in a really big way, Samira will be joining us. So Samira will come in for part of the book club on May 30th. We told her we didn't want to take up all of her time. So we will have our start of our book club conversation, and then we will bring her in where we will also have lots of questions for her as well, too. And your questions as well, we can pose to her when she joins us. So we are really looking forward to seeing you and being together to talk about her new book. So that can move us to, we have another clip from Samira's keynote that we'd like to share with you that I think helps you see more about her as an author, but also the passion that's gone into all of her titles, but including this next one as well. And then we'll talk on the other side of it.
But we are not going to let them ostracize human beings, and we are not going to let them destroy the freedom to read and to think, and we are not going to let them destroy our right to live freely and to exist in our truths and be who we are. And that's where our revolution comes in, right? That's how we are all revolutionaries. And I just want to put this out there because it's so important. Being a revolutionary, revolutionaries are not neutral. I know a lot of people want to say that classrooms and libraries have to be neutral spaces, spaces that are apolitical. But that's impossible. They're not, right? Book bans are political. Book bans are not neutral. When you're denying stories, when you are saying stories by BIPOC authors and about BIPOC characters and about queer and trans characters by queer and trans authors, that stories about sexual assault by survivors, stories of survivors don't belong on our shelves. Those people who are banning those books are 1,000% political. They are absolutely not neutral, and we can't be neutral either, because being neutral means that we are essentially standing by and letting it happen, and we are not going to do that. Because when we create spaces for young people where all kids are welcome, just like simply put, that is not a neutral idea. And book banners and these people who are pushing for censorship and for all sorts of noxious laws across the country, they're not being neutral, because they're signaling out identities, individuals, stories that they're saying are not okay, are not suitable, they're calling obscene or pornographic. But we are building spaces, are trying to build a world where all kids are welcome. That's not neutral, because we're saying that every child deserves this space. So it's not a neutral position, but it's the morally and ethically correct one.
Yeah. I am so excited for this book club. Just keep going and talk about it, because
I am too. I feel like I'm tearing up as I'm listening to her speak.
I feel it. I feel her. And I think like she in the keynote too, she mentions from her other book, Internment, and that the poem that she wrote for it, speak the truth while still alive. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that's our job right now, especially, and we can't be neutral in times of injustice. If you're neutral, you're choosing the side of the oppressor. And just I think it's so necessary, and I think we all need it.
Yeah, and that while you're still alive, it's so chilling, because it's both, like, again, I'm thinking of Gaza, that's right in our view right now, and the stories and the video and the cameras coming live from right inside of a genocide, and how we need to carry on lives that ended, and how we need to continue to speak truth for others as well. Mm-hmm. And I'm really, as a queer educator, I felt I was tearing up as she was specifically naming groups that mm-hmm. are attacked in book bans, and the way that mm-hmm. I live my life happily, but the way that a parent can go, or a community member can go to a board and say that certain lives aren't true or valid, mm-hmm. or aren't worth living, mm-hmm. And how we have to tell our stories, how we mm-hmm. have to tell one another stories. Looking at comments here on Instagram, I see M. Todd. I think that's Mark, maybe. Hi, Mark Todd. Mm-hmm. Mark saying this is so excited and needed. Yes, this feels like the right book to have us at the right time mm-hmm. in conversation and community together. Yeah. So I think as we're getting towards the end here, why don't we hear from, this is another clip from the keynote, but we'll hear Samira say just a little bit about this upcoming book, and then we'll welcome you to our book club coming up in just a few weeks.
This Book Won't Burn is a story about a young woman who is living in Chicago and who is suffering from this like great betrayal, because her father has left the family sort of without reason. And her mom moves her and her sister to this small town that is kind of like the opposite of Chicago. And, you know, my main character, Noor, is just trying to keep her head down and make it through to graduation. She can't deal with anything anymore. But when she goes to this small school, she goes into the library, which is her one safe space, and she finds that over 500 books are being pulled from shelves because of a new school district regulation. And she, as much as she wants to just keep her head down and make it through the year, she knows that she can't stay quiet because she is listening once again to that inner voice inside her that's saying, things are really tough for me right now, but I still have to speak up, and I still have to figure out a way to build a community that's going to stand with me and together fight this. And this book was, you know, it takes a very long time to publish. So a book. So this story idea actually came out of a conversation I had with a teacher about 2.5, 3 years ago, actually two conversations. And I'm going to just share those two stories with you right now, because those two stories from teachers literally inspired this book.
So in a Reading Rainbow way, if you'd like to hear more of Samira's stories by teachers, please tune over to her keynote. You can find it on the TheEdCollab's gathering page, gathering.theeducatorcollaborative.com. Well, there it is on the bottom of your screen. You also can find it on our YouTube channel. Just find Spring 2024, and that's where she is. And her book, This Book Won't Burn, is available for pre-order right now. It's going to be a hot book. So if you want to check it out from the library, put it on hold right now if you haven't already, so you can be ready for our first meeting together coming up soon. Just to wrap up, a reminder that our book club, our first date of our book club, will be on May 30th. We'll be talking through chapters 1 through 16. All of our book club meetings for This Book Won't Burn will happen on Thursdays between 8 and 9 p.m. Eastern. So 5:30, 6:13, and 6:20, we'll have that up on the screen again in just a moment here. And you can join just like you did now by tuning in to us on Facebook, on YouTube, or on Instagram Live. You'll be able to chat along with us. We'll have a small group of us here talking. Samira will be our guest on the 30th. And then we'd love to have you both chat with one another. And we'd love to pull in your comments and chats as well, too. And perhaps we'll invite some of you to come join us on camera, and some of the others as well, too. So I have my book pre-ordered. Amira, do you have yours?
I'm about to this weekend.
Excellent, perfect. So thank you.
Wait.
So first, thank you, Amira, for joining us today. It's always a pleasure talking with you, and I look forward to our club together.
Yes, I can't wait. I can't wait to be a part of the community, to talk about it with all of you, and I just, you know, looking forward to it. I think we're all needing that space.
And
so
I see Christine. Hi, Christine Noel. This gave us a bunch of gold hearts on, on Instagram Live. Hi, Christine. And thanks to all of you for tuning in. And we do hope that you will join us coming up on May 30th. So order your book or put a hold on it at your local library, or buy from an independent bookstore if you can very soon. And we cannot wait to see you coming